JavaScript is the best language ever. I know some of you maybe uh, hello everyone. I know this is a very weird phrase, so we can start with, uh, but nobody said this ever. Developers love pizza, beer, and also fight for the best language or framework. I know that if you are a developer and well, you always want to fight for your language, and the question is not to ask which one is the best language. The real question is which one feels best for you. So okay, team says, come on, I love JavaScript. Yes, uh, a lot of people love JavaScript, but the real question is which one feels best for you. Maybe you love JavaScript because uh, that language feels right. Maybe for other people doesn't feels right. And well, my name is Marco Muñoz, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Blockchain Academy Mexico. And I decided to talk about this specific uh, title because we most of our uh, most of our um, path here in Blockchain Academy is about developing in blockchain technologies. So this is very important. So you you need to understand why you should use Truffle from the beginning, but also why you should uh, choose a right framework. And there are a lot of points in this ecosystem that you should look at, but the main points that you should consider um, when you have to choose your framework is first the scale, second the support, also the features, the longevity, performance, the active community, the popularity, but also the documentation. There are three famous types of frameworks: the UI and CSS frameworks, that of course you know about Bootstrap, the JS frameworks, for example, React is one of the famous one, and the backend frameworks, Django or Ruby on Rails. This is an image of a web application architecture. We have in this section the backend, in the left section the front end, and in the front end section we have JS frameworks and also the UI frameworks. The UI frameworks are the ones that help us to connect the buttons, the images, and all of that stuff, and the JS frameworks run uh, behind the UI. What about, for example, most the well, an example of the UI frameworks we have anti-design, for example. If you don't want to if you don't want to develop or to create your own graphics, your own um, tools about the graphic design, you can consider to choose anti-design. But also you have Blockdemi UI. This is one framework that we develop in the in the Blockdemi organization, and you can look that we have a couple of buttons, a couple of breadcrumbs, badges, avatars, and an example of implement this kind of frameworks is that you don't have to create everything from the beginning. You have using a framework has pros but also cons. In the side of the UI framework pros, you have a faster development and prototyping. You have responsive by default. Some or most devs don't know how to design, so this is a great advantage. Easy to work with a team, and this is the first time in this presentation that we are going to talk about the standards. And also there are a lot of plugins that can connect with these UI frameworks, documentations, but also the supports. What is the main cons? Stop devs from learning CSS. If if you are a junior developer, for example, maybe this is not the best way to learn from the beginning, and we are going to talk about further about the learning stuff. Less customization because all the sites are going to have the same style, and that's what happens with most of the Bootstrap UI framework sites. Lots of overriding styles that may, in some cases, as well as the jQuery dependencies, uh, uh, create 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 big files with a lot of uh, with a lot of sizes. So in the first part we have UI frameworks. In the second layer we have JS frameworks. The pros of JS frameworks, such as React, a big pros is less work for large front-end applications. They are organized and component-based designed. You can manage the state. They have fast performance. They are reliable and tested. And also, I think one of the best advantages is the community and the support. For example, with the React community, and also is great for teams. The cons of choosing a JS framework is it adds complexity, less freedom, and also stop beginners from learning actual JS coding. And also in the side of the backend frameworks, we have uh, well, saves a ton of time and makes things much easier. It is very flexible and allows you to build almost anything. One of the big advantages of the backend frameworks is that it has built-in security. Uh, Most of the developers are know the MVC, that is the model view controller um, standard, and also the routing is very easy to manage in the backend frameworks. 6 and 7 point is you have to take a look about the community, and also the documentation and the support is pretty important. The cons of backend frameworks can stop beginners from learning the fundamentals of coding, and this is pretty much one of the main problems using frameworks. But here comes the next question. Main problem in startups is for one side, I love the technology and also I want to learn, but from the other side, most of the business run out of money. So when it comes about an MVP or an startup, we can compare and we can decide which is our main goal. If we want velocity and we want to build fast some components, or we want to learn in a project that the main objective is to make money, for example. So this is pretty much what we have in a web application. And what about blockchain? Blockchain comes uh, in 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 another component. For example, we have here uh, we have we have here the blockchain component, and it is connected directly to the UI. You can connect any blockchain that you want, but we are going to talk about the Ethereum blockchain, for example. And in the other type of frameworks that we have blockchain frameworks and smart contract frameworks. Well, the main smart contract framework in the blockchain ecosystem is Truffle. And in this event, of course, you have all the uh, all the advantages and a lot of demos about Truffle and smart contracts developed by the entire Truffle suite. But the interesting part of developing with Truffle is that you have with only just one line, you have an entire framework that you can deploy your own smart contract. Uh, Always consider frameworks if you have business sense, if you are a company, if you want standards, and you don't want to depend of your only blockchain dev. And but also consider frameworks if you work with a team. And well, we can see more about the Truffle suites. We have here you can see that Truffle suite has a lot of nice features, smart contract lifecycle management, automated contract testing, scriptable development and migrations, simple network management. And here in Blockchain Academy Mexico, we always have the question about a where do I can start coding smart contracts, and how can I develop a smart contract and deploy it to a testnet? Well, you don't have to start from the beginning. You can use a framework and have support with the great documentation. One main one main help that every developer has in the ecosystem is go to the documentation and read about everything of your well read about of everything about the framework. Go to GitHub, review all the documentation. You can see how many community is supporting your framework. You can see all the coding here in GitHub. You can see that it has 10,000 commits, how many pull requests it has, how many branches, and the most important thing is that if the framework is alive, talking about in terms of community. Uh, that's why Ethereum ecosystem is one of the best or one of the main blockchains nowadays in terms of DeFi projects, because the community is pretty big, and I can be sure that most of the projects developed in DeFi ecosystem are using a Truffle or tools like Truffle. So So well, this is a short talk that uh, the the main uh, the main conclusion that I want to that I want you to stay with is that consider frameworks if you have business sense, and or you are a company, you want standards, and you don't want to depend with just one blockchain dev that customize everything, because when you want to scale or you want um to hire new people, it's difficult to train them and they understand the code of your application. And for sure, if you are working with a team using frameworks like Truffle in terms of smart contracts is pretty useful for you. So that's uh, that's most of what we have. And I don't know if we have questions or something, and that's everything. Thank you for your time, and in the next uh, at at 5 p.m. I think Ernesto, our tech lead, is going to have a talk about reentrancy in smart contracts. So I'm going to invite you to attend that talk. And thank you for your patience. And well, this is my first talk in English, so thank you, everyone.